Can you talk me through some of the process of how you sort of design, set up, go through developing a Lotus in terms of like what's the process? Like where do you start and then how do you refine it? How does that work?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, not to give too many secrets away, but
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
a process, and it's not just best guess and test. It starts with working out where the car sits within the market segment, who are its competitors, what is the customer going to be like who buys it, how are they going to use the car, and we then set the attribute statement around that. So we actually write a document which tells all the engineers if they pick up this book how we want the car to behave, what it's going to be leading at, what do we want the noise to sound like, or where will it be used every day.
Mm.
We then sit with the engineers and they come back and say, okay, to deliver those attributes, we need the car to have X, Y, or Z technology or stiffness, and also previous benchmarks where they're internal or external. We then do a lot of simulation and CAE because there's no point building or cutting metal until you have a good idea that you're actually going to meet the targets.
Mm.
But in parallel with that, if it's a powertrain change or a particular wheel-based track, you can build a mule car. So you take the last version of the car, cut it and shut it, and you end up with these Frankensteins you see in the magazines.
Yeah, yeah.
And that gives the basis very quickly that you're on the right path or what the challenges are going to be. And then basically, as the project matures and you get more mature vehicles, you keep checking your reference, you keep checking it on target. We'll do drives where we have the competitor set cars, previous cars, and we're constantly scoring them. And we score them not for just dynamics, but we call them driven and non-driven attributes. So driven is the obvious ones. How does it sound, feel, accelerate, ride, steer?
Yeah.
But the non-driven ones are where the controls in the cockpit. How is the effort of the throttle pedal? Is the radio difficult to use or reach? Things like this. So that's that process, and it's iterative development. And at that point, you go to your experts, and that's where my job comes in, where it's signing it off to say yes, we'll take that as a compromise, or no, we can't sign that off yet. We need to push harder.